Nice.
Shout out to Digital Prez for the intro, which I've meshed together with some of my own stuff. But
okay. That was a fire little intro.
Yeah, that was nice. That's different. I like it.
Look to Digital Prez, like he gave me the intro. I meshed in some of the music that I found on YouTube. It was like a violin piece that one of the guys did on ESPN, and then chucked in my intro and some sound effects. So, anyways, guys, it's been a long while since I've done a live. Welcome to the draft recap for 2019 is going to be the subject of the day. I'm your host, OzyRaider. I'm going to see if I can get this right. Yep. To my right, OzyRaider, my fellow Aussie cohort. We got Unti6 down below. You know what it is. It's Fade to Black and Pharaoh for the first time. Appreciate you guys joining in. I'm just going to do a quick roll call of the people in the chat. So we got Terrence in the building. Salute to you. Thanks for joining, man.
Hey, Terrence's birthday, everybody. Give Terrence a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Terrence.
Oh, it's birthday. Okay.
Happy birthday, Terrence.
Happy birthday, Terrence, man. Happy G-Day.
Let me just get my
happy birthday to the chat.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terrence. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, damn, man. That's all right there. Look at that. That's crazy.
Raider Cortez, salute to you. Thanks for joining in. Medium K, Cool Kev, you know what it is. What's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Sarah Phillips, see you in the building. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you too. And Ray Love, I don't believe I've seen you in the chat before, so thanks for stopping by as well. So yeah, everyone else. We got Raider Rep for life. Salute to Terrence. Happy birthday indeed. Guys, how are we feeling?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good, man. Feeling like $1 million.
For real.
A lot better than a week and a half ago, I'll tell you that. I'm feeling great.
For real.
It's a beautiful day to be a Raider, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty excited about the free agents this year.
For sure. Just real quickly, before we get into our Raider stuff, did you guys see that video of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I had to check that shit out. I have not seen it.
I didn't know about it until I saw what's it?
I just heard about
Graphics
it.
little meme of the slap at the Oscars, and I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell is this all about? And then I went on YouTube, and it was like,
the shit
it just went, bah, slap Chris Rock, and he's like, you know it was real because he's like, keep my fucking wife's name out your mouth, and they didn't censor it. So,
Oh, snap. This is recent?
Yeah, well,
This was
it was just
right?
like
checking it
tonight.
out after.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, just like 45 minutes ago.
That's crazy.
God damn, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, if you go on
What's up,
YouTube
Howard?
on your phone,
Yeah.
I don't want to put it up in here because I might get copyright stricken. But yeah, Chris Rock was doing like a little
Fucking stand up.
he was doing some stand-up monologue, and he was making jokes. First he was talking about Denzel, and he was talking about someone else, and then he made it was a little jab at Jada Pinkett, who's a disgrace of a wife, might I say so. And then Will Smith, he walked up on the stage, beelined it straight to him, and just went, bah, like right across the face. Went and sat down. He's like, keep my fucking wife's name out your mouth. Whoa.
Like on the stage?
Yeah, Digital
like
says he
live?
called her,
Yeah, live.
he called her G.I.
On the
Jane, I
stage.
guess, huh? Because she's bald.
Yeah. She's like, can't wait for G.I. Jane 2 to come out, Jada. And then everybody was laughing. Even Will Smith laughed at first. And then I guess he looked at Jada, and then Jada gave him that look, and he was like, oh, I got to go do something. So he went up there and fucking slapped the shit out of him, bro. Like, what the fuck?
I can appreciate him standing up for his wife. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Like anybody standing up for their lady's honor, can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jada Pinkett to me is a disgrace of a wife. But
Brad,
doing it at the Oscars, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, man. I'll have to watch that later.
Damn, I gotta
That's
see
just
that.
live
I gotta
too,
see
isn't
that.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Digital Prez. He called Jada G.I. Jane because she's bald. G.I. is bald in the comics. Yeah, he made some subtle joke. It wasn't even that bad.
No, my mom told me I guess Jada has like cancer or had something. That's why she can't have her hair long or anything. So that's why I
Oh,
guess
wow.
it was kind of disrespectful for him to say that. So I was like,
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
that's what I
Yeah,
said.
I
That
know that either.
you gonna crack some jokes? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd take offense to that too because I went through chemo myself. So yeah, that's kind of offensive then.
crazy, huh?
I'm good, glad to have
Yeah,
you with
I
us.
mean, I
Ozzy.
don't know the
Awesome.
context of it. Like, if that's true, then again, it goes to my point. I can appreciate Will Smith defending his wife's honor. So,
yeah.
Tatter Giraffe, salute to you. Thanks for joining in the feed. I know you're busy working, but appreciate you stopping by, brother. Terrence is wondering when you're coming back to doing lives. We got SC in the building. Salute, bro.
SC, what's up?
I'm doing some
Was good.
homework,
FC.
listening in. No, that's cool. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to have you, even in the chat feed. That's enough for me. So appreciate you, brother. We'll get into free agency first because I haven't been able to touch up on my own channel. I'm going to let Ozzy take the floor because I've already talked about my own opinions on quite a few of the other lives. So Ozzy, you want to share your thoughts, man?
Because it's been done to death, so I'm just going to skim over it real quick. And that's just to say, like, this has got to be the best offseason I've seen in about 20 years. I'll just leave it at that.
Facts.
I've been a fan since like 2000, roughly. So, yeah, about 22 years now. So, and this is the best offseason moves I've seen in a long ass time. Not just the players, but the whole coaching staff, the whole front office. I think this is the best front office we've had since I've been a fan. So,
I like the direction and the moves that they're making. It's definitely different and it's refreshing. Anyone else just want to share their quick takes before we move? That's all right.
Sorry, I just want to add one quick thing. I don't want to say this live, so then people can say I said it. Carr breaks 5,000 yards this season.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I wouldn't be
There's your
surprised.
first take.
I wouldn't
I
be
wouldn't be
surprised.
surprised.
Bro,
Yeah, I will say that after the first day of free agency, a lot of us were panicking. I will say that a lot of us in the chat rooms and content creators, and we had to be a little patient. We knew there was something brewing in the behind closed doors, and obviously they were doing it the I'm not going to mention the word, but the new Raider way, right? So I like what they did, Ben. They're not used to getting those splash hits, but they did it this time. And like Ozzy said, they started from the top. I give it to Mark Davis, man, because he started from the top and all the way down. And all they got to do now is just win those games and prove us wrong. Because right now, we don't know how it's going to come out, right, or turn out. We really don't. But they're moving in the right direction. That's all I got to say.
For sure. To your point, like, you're saying they made sweeping changes. It's like any business model. It starts from the top. And you're talking about the Raider way. And a lot of people have talked about the Raider way. Well, the Raider way hasn't been working for us for the last, 20 years. So we need a new Raider way, a new direction. And it seems like that's where we're going. Pharaoh, remember when, you were just, I think you were just saying, Fade, how everyone was talking about how they were panicking about free agency and that. Pharaoh was one. I was another who was on the, come on, like, patience, guys. Stop acting like the sky was falling. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
We called it. And of course, that's what happened. So, too many people in panic mode.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was one of the guys, because I didn't, at the end of the day, like, I was preaching before the free agency about the hires of McDaniels and Dave Z, how good of a hires they were. The pedigree that they have, you know what I mean? Just the fact that these are not guys that came out of nowhere. These are guys that like earned their way to the top. Obviously, we all know about McDaniels being like a successful offensive coordinator, the offensive mind for the New England Patriots offense for years. How many times has he had top 10 offenses? 8. How many times has he had three? How many times has he been number 1 in offense? 3 times. And that's more than a lot of these head coaching candidates could even have. And none of them have anything close to his resume. And obviously he has 6 Super Bowl rings. And then you look at a guy like Dave Z, who pretty much like clawed his way to the position that he was in New England, to the point where like Bill Belichick did not want Dave Z to leave. It's like, don't get this twisted. Like I looked this up. I was doing my research as far as, where Dave Z came from, because I had to make a video, and I did make a video. Y'all should check it out. Pharoahnfl channel, where I talk about Dave Z. Like, he did not want Dave Z to leave New England. actually the year before he came to the Raiders, he interviewed for Denver, and he blew away Denver. Like Denver was like, oh shit, like they were getting ready to like actually make this guy like a real option as a GM candidate. He could have been a GM for the Denver Broncos. What happened was Bill Belichick's like, you know what? If you come back, I'll give you a raise. I'll give you a higher position, the de facto GM. And that's where you kind of heard that, Bill Belichick finally kind of like fell back as a GM as far as responsibilities. I don't know how much of that was true, but hey, just look at what we've been seeing. That's all you got to see. The proof is in the pudding at the end of the day. Like
Right.
aggressive, calculative moves. That's the best way to describe the Raiders offseason in free agency and hopefully the draft. Aggressive, calculative moves. Every move that we've done, we haven't been screwed.
Mhm.
Even the big contracts that we handed out, like that, like for example, let me just give you one example. I don't want to talk too much, but the Chandler Jones contract, right? That contract looks so good, especially a few hours later, you get Von Miller getting 6 years, 120 mil, same age, and he's still this kind of the same caliber of pass rushers, and we get a player that fits in the defense.
Yeah.
How beautiful is
You're
that?
right.
We get a great player, and he's familiar with the coaching staff, and he fits. So that means his impact is going to be huge on this team. So
For sure.
things like that, just I don't have to
like
say
that,
too much. But
what you said, Pharaoh. Calculated aggression. I love it. Just to summarize it, I guess like just to minimize it just a little bit, like the only players I was sad to see go was Alec Ingold and Unique Ngakoue. I like those two, and Zay Jones, but Zay Jones got his bag. All the other moves, very happy. But those are two guys that it's unfortunate that we moved on from. But salute to Raf. Thanks for joining in the chat feed. El Capitan Raphael is here to say great show. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Much love. I just wanted to quickly just go over free agency because a lot of us guys have already been on most lives and already given our opinions and takes, and it's been done to death. So I wanted to do something a little bit different for my first live back on my own channel for a while. And that is the subject of the day. So, a lot of people, they like to grade out draft classes once they've been done, when the draft picks have been made. I don't necessarily like to do that because you don't know until they've had at least a bit of body of work within the NFL. You know what I mean? Like then you can grade out like how they panned out. So that's why, I don't know if you can hear that. I got police in the background. So I thought today, you know what? We're moving on to the draft away from free agency. I know free agency is still going, but it's now 3 years since we drafted the 2019 draft class, which was the year we got Ferrell, Maxx Crosby, Hunter Renfrow, and the others, which I will bring up in a second. So, guys, if there's anything else you guys want to go over, otherwise we'll just get straight into it.
Let's go for it.
All right, let's do it. All right, Only One Nation, salute to you. Thanks for joining in, man. All right, so we'll get straight to the subject of hand then. That is the 2019 draft class. I'm just going to pop it up full screen there. So most of us already know all the names already. Ferrell, round 1, pick 4. Josh Jacobs, round 1, pick 24. Jonathan Abram, not too much later afterwards. Round 1, pick 27. Trayvon Mullen, cornerback, round 2, pick 40. Mad Maxx Crosby, round 4, pick 106. Isaiah Johnson. I'm just going to get rid of my banners just a second so I can read this properly. There we go. Get rid of that. All right. So Isaiah Johnson, round 4, pick 129. Foster Moreau, round 4, pick 137. Hunter Renfrow, round 5, pick 149. And Quentin Bell, round 7, pick 230. So what I'm going to do is, so we'll each give our own thoughts and takes on each player. We'll take turns, and then we'll give out a grade for each player, and then maybe summarize it. So we'll go on to the first pick, which was, if I can get this up,
Ferrell.
Ferrell. So, Clelin Ferrell, you can see the stats are all there. A guy that was picked 4th overall. And you know what, Ozzy? I'm going to let you take the floor first, and then we'll go from you to Pharaoh, Fade, Ontario, and then I'll go last. So,
yeah, no problem, brother.
Clee.
Well, a lot of people are saying Clee's a bust, but I don't think so. Like, it's not his fault where he was drafted at. I think he's still like a solid player. Like, if you can look at the grades there. He actually picked it up more in 2020, but then Gus Bradley didn't really use him in 21. So that's why you got that massive drop off between 2020 and 2021, is because he didn't get many snaps. Like, he wasn't utilized in that defense. So you can actually see his grades jump from year 1 to year 2. Especially in the run stuffing. So I think in Graham's new scheme, I think he's gonna play better in a 3-4, because I used to watch a bit of the Clemson games, and he's a versatile player on the line. Like, he can play outside, he can play inside. So I think he's gonna be really used a lot more in Graham's defense than at Gus Bradley cover 3 defense. So personally, to me, I'd give it a B+. I can't give it a high grade because he was overdrafted, but it's not his fault. So I'll give it around a B+ kind of a grade, but it's not, because you got to look at who was on the board though as well. So, they wanted an edge rusher. They had him and Nick Bosa on their board. So Nick Bosa was gone by that point. For whatever reason, they didn't want Josh Allen. Maybe they felt it wasn't a scheme fit or whatever. So yeah, I give it about a B. Because of other players left on the board, so I can't give it an A grade, but I'll give it a B.
On T6. Your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, at the moment, I was pissed off and mad. I wanted Josh Allen.
Yeah.
The grade I'll give it a C. But the thing is, my first ever Raider game was in Oakland. It was the Raiders and Chargers primetime game in Oakland. My boy Ferrell went off for 2.5 sacks against the Chargers, bro. He has it in him. I just don't understand why he can't produce every game, brother. He has all the talent in the world. If he didn't have the talent, he would have been drafted 4th overall, brother. I just think that, like also you said, we went from one system to the other. We didn't use him at all. So I think this year's going to be a breakout year for him. But we'll see, brother.
I agree.
So you give him a bit C? Just
Yeah.
a C? Fair.
You're on Maxx muted.
So I was saying I was muted, but I was saying I guess I'm gonna be the bad guy today. So, all right. Yes, I think that he's not. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a solid player. But I do one thing I can't agree with all of you guys that pretty much spoke about him is that he was overdrafted.
Hey.
4th overall, and we could have got players like Devin White.
Ed Oliver.
We're looking at the same position. Brian Burns, a pass rusher, one of the best pass rushers in the league. Even a guy like Montez Sweat that went later in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can see, like, the Raiders, led by Paul Gunther, because obviously Mike Mayock was. You could tell like there was a heavy influence in his picks by the coaching staff, which obviously didn't work out in our favor. But I give the pick a D. I give the pick a D because at the end of the day, we're grading the draft, and to pick Clelin Ferrell at number 4 is terrible. It's terrible because when you draft, it's all about value. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's and the value in this draft for the Raiders. This is why we're gonna get into the draft in general, but the Raiders, when it comes to value in this draft, especially in the first round, it's with Mike Mayock and John Gruden at the helm, has been like overall been terrible in my opinion. But I give the Clelin Ferrell pick a D. It's not. I'm not saying that he's a terrible player. He's a solid player if you put him in the right scheme, possibly. But guess what? We're kind of projecting a little bit. Let's be honest here. It's just 3-4 years in the league, and we're still projecting about him. So, I'm going to tell you how it is right now at this very moment. In my opinion, it's a D. And until he proves otherwise, until he could tell me, because I know you say it's in him. I don't know if it's in him, man. I don't know what you mean by it's in him. Like, I don't see pass rusher in him. I don't see dominating pass rusher. Maybe he might develop into a solid role player. Maybe that's what I see him as, like a role player. But and maybe we'll see what Patrick Graham does with a player like Clelin Ferrell. We'll see. But my final grade on the pick, to me, my opinion, was a D. It is what it is. You know.
Fade, I'm going to jump in real quick and then I'll let you finish it off because I just want to say I 100% agree with you, Pharaoh, 100%. Me and Ozzy, we've debated the subject of Clee quite a few times on our lives. He's a bit higher on Clee than I am. I've kind of been on the train of thought of that I want more and I want better, and it's not good enough that at pick 4, you don't. I've said this quite a few times. At pick 4, you do not draft for a rotational piece at best. You draft there for a centerpiece, and Clee Ferrell just hasn't done that. And we talk. You said it yourself. We're talking about projections and that. It's been 3 years in the league, and he's only regressing. And to me, that's not good enough. I want more and I want better. And I know he can. I know he can produce better, but to get the juice that we've got out of him so far. And last season, he was a rotational piece. We're talking like he's going to maybe step up this season, maybe not. We don't know that. We don't know how he's going to be utilized. But for the body of work that we've gotten out of him so far, it's not good enough. At pick 4, whatever way you want to cut it, you can say, oh, he's a victim of where he was chosen. Well, we could have chosen him at the end of round 1, and I still would have said the same thing. It's just not good enough that all he's doing is coming off the bench, and he does contribute and he's good in the run stuffing and that. But like we also Tad had brought up on one of our lives that one of the reasons we brought him in was for his leadership skills. Well, where is it? He's not a captain of the team. I mean, Mad Maxx is one of the captains last season. I get very critical of the guy because I want more. I'm with you, Pharaoh. I'm going to give it. Oh God. A C-, and that's being very, very generous.
Oh, you're nice. You're nice. You're being very nice.
Salute
to Bugsy. Salute to Bugsy.
But he has produced a little bit, but definitely not good enough.
Facts. I agree, man. I agree. And another thing too, when you draft players in the top 5, you want to get like you want to get like freaky athletes. You want guys like, damn, this guy could be that guy. And when we drafted him 4th overall, I never got that vibe. Like when I watch him on the field, he seems like he doesn't jump off the screen. You know what I mean? He doesn't give you that vibe. Like when I watch Khalil Mack, obviously a whole different player. You could tell. Even when you watch Maxx Crosby, oh my God, like this dude, he just jumps out at you. You know what I mean? But Clee, he's not that type of player. He's a role player, solid player, but I got to tell you like how it is. You can't draft a solid player like a role player at number 4. Like, God damn, like, and it wasn't like a situation where, and I don't want to keep talking, but it wasn't a situation where like everybody thought he was a top 5 pick, and then he became a bust. It was like everybody was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. No, I see the same things you're saying. And I see complacency with just being a rotational piece, and that's not good enough. It's not. Fade.
Damn, Pharaoh, you took all my thunder, bro.
My bad.
Hey, man, I don't disagree with any of you guys. Yeah, we can sit here and say the pick was wrong, right? Number 4, for one. Now, how he performed, I think he's a good run stopper. He's not. I don't think he's that guy, that team leader like the Crosby. Now, was he underutilized because who he was under with Gruden, Marinelli, and Gunther? And then last year, he wasn't even utilized at all, really. This year will show who he really is, if you ask me. Okay. So he's under a good system right now. If they can see all that, what he can do, and hey, man, I'm going to back him up this year. But if he doesn't perform this year, we need to replace that position, his position. That's all I got to say. You guys already took all the fire. So I agree with all you guys. I would give him a C-. I'd give it a C-.
Yeah, I'm between a C- and a B. So I'm kind of like on the cusp of those two.
How do you go from
guys
a B
are nice.
to C-?
No, I'm saying B and a C-, because you go B then C-. So I'm halfway between a B and a C-.
Well, I'm about to be the Grinch today then. Whew, the way y'all giving out grades, I'm gonna be the Grinch.
Because, like I said, I kind of put last year a bit more on Gus Bradley, not using him.
Well, I'm just looking at. I mean, percentage wise, how often was he on the field, right? So
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
it does come down to if you're not performing in practice, you're not going to play in the game. So that's possible too.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't performing in practice, right? And maybe that's why he wasn't on the field.
But I'm not a fan of Gus
this
Bradley,
year-
so just to let people know, I'm not a fan of Gus Bradley.
But at the end of the day, it's up to him to prove that he's worthy to get on the field. If he's not going to do that,
Exactly. And the only one that was really that did
we put Unique and Gakwe in those starting roles when it should have been Ferrell, but he wasn't good enough.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, man. You know, I agree with you. I'm not going to say he's better than Yannick. You know, in no way. I would think that. I mean, he had his downfalls the way he would go after the runs and you know, or pursue, you know, the guys. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Go ahead, Alpha.
All right, so I gave a C-. Ozzy, you get what was you said B plus? I thought you said.
No, I said B or
B.
B. No, I said B or C-.
That's a big gap right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you've gone from B plus to
really.
C plus.
Not really.
He's trying to moonwalk. He's like, oh damn, I gave him a.
Because to me, you go C-, then B plus. Or
No,
B-,
no.
B+.
That's three different grades,
B,
brother.
B minus, C
Yeah.
plus, C.
Yeah, B minus.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. It's between a B and a C-.
Okay. All right.
I had to wait and see what I'm with Fade. I had to wait and see what he does this year first.
Okay. Onto 6, you were C. Pharaoh was a D, and Fade, you gave him what'd you give
C
him? Fade?
minus. C minus.
C minus. Okay.
Yeah,
Just before
right,
we move,
I'm right, just a little above Ferrell on that one.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
I'm
So I
gonna be
just
the
want
mean guy
to
today.
give a few quick shout outs before we move.
We have
Persian
every reason
Raider,
to be mean today.
MG, I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping by. Anyone else I didn't mention? Only One Nation, salute to you. And Vitality Reaps, good to see you in the chat again, my friend. Bugsy Raider too. Thanks for stopping by. Anyways, look, we'll move on to the next one real quick. So the next pick that season was Josh Jacobs, because we had 3 round 1 picks. So round 1, 24th overall, out of Alabama. Started hot out of the gates, had a fantastic rookie season. Since then, he has been good, not great, but we'll get into that in a minute. Ozzy, are you still there, or are you backed out? Was he gone?
Ozzy has left the building.
Ozzy's left the building. Okay. All right. We'll put him last then. We'll go with you, Auntie 6, if you want to give out your thoughts and grade.
I love this pick at the time. I gave it a B plus. You know what I mean? I know he's been injured lately, but he did come up strong at the end of the season. You know what I mean? He is the reason why we did make the playoffs. So you know what I mean? I give it a B plus.
B plus. Pharaoh.
This one's a tough one, but I'm gonna stick to what I was trying to say earlier, where Mayock and Gruden kind of failed especially in the early rounds, was getting value. And like, to draft a running back like Josh Jacobs in the first round, when you could have gotten a player, you know, like him or even better. Well, I won't say even better, because we could have got a running back in like the later rounds that can do exactly what Josh Jacobs does, is to give you, like, you know, 5 to 10 yards consistently, never really break a big run. Like his best runs were like in his rookie year. We haven't seen explosive runs since his rookie year. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, in my opinion, he's been hurt every year too. That's very concerning as a running back. Every year, like your rookie year, your second year, your third year, every year you've been hurt. That's another thing too as well. So I give it a C. I give it a C. C plus. Because I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's a bad player, but it's just, man, it's the value, bro. Like, look at Jonathan Taylor. He got drafted in the second round. Look at a guy like the guy. I don't know if it was this draft, but I'm just saying in general, Jonathan Taylor was drafted in the second round. Nick Chubb, was he drafted in the first round? I'm not sure. But obviously a better running back than Josh Jacobs. The guy in Tennessee was drafted in the second round. So guys that were drafted in the later rounds like second round at the earliest, are doing better than Josh Jacobs. So like I said, it's all about value, and that's why I'm gonna give him like a C to C plus.
Yeah. So on T6, you gave him what did you give him on T6?
A B plus.
A B plus, and you gave him a C. Okay, so we'll go to you, Fade. What do you think?
Yeah, we got to remember he got drafted out of Alabama, and he wasn't even the starter there. So I think that's why he came out of the gate with fresh legs. He scored more. He had more yards his first season than he did the second season. I think he had like a little over 1,100 the first season in 13 games, and then this year he had 1,065 in 15 games.
Yeah.
I think it's taking a toll on him. Hopefully he's not going to be injury prone, but I like what he had towards the end. It gave us a little fire, but I'm just hoping that depending on how they're going to utilize him, I think that if we bring in these other running backs, he doesn't get to touch the ball as much. I think it'll help out his lifespan. So I'm going to give that pick a B, a solid B.
Solid B. Ozzy, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm gonna have to go with on T6. I give it a B plus. Because we got to remember, especially like when he first came out of Alabama, man, he had like 2 touchdowns and like over 100 yards from line of scrimmage. It was the first Raider to do that since 2002. So it's not that he doesn't have the talent. Like the talent's there. Another thing we've got to take into account is how the O-line regressed, because that plays a major role into your run game. So I've got to take that into account. So I give it a B plus. Because I feel now that we've got a better O-line coach, I expect Jacobs to play better this year than last year. So.
All right, so with Josh Jacobs, I mean, the stats are all there. I generally like to go by the feel of the game rather than going by the stats. Josh Jacobs had a phenomenal rookie season. Started high out of the gates, and it's to your point, Fade, and Ozzy, that he came out of college seemingly fresh, so that was able to help him during his rookie season, and we probably did have a better run blocking offensive line than when he did in the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But since then, to your point, Pharaoh, he seems to always be getting hurt. He's not. He doesn't always. It seems like he's always doesn't seem to be 100%, and he's got some form of injury. Last season, when the season started, like the first half, like the production wasn't there and it wasn't good enough. Whatever way you want to cut it, whether it be injury or the offensive line. But he did come on towards the end, which was good to see. The production has been good in terms of the touchdowns and that. But that for me personally, that average for the yards per carry since his rookie season hasn't been good enough. I mean, if you're floating around that 4.3 mark, to me, that's just average. That's not that great. We need more out of Josh Jacobs, and running backs only have a short lifespan in the NFL. They
first round pick,
and for it to be a first round pick, I mean, to your point, Ferrell, can we get the same production out of someone later? Maybe, maybe not. But in terms of what he's produced and also where we selected him, I could be generous and give him a B minus. Or I could go the Pharaoh route and give him a C. Oh God!
Just give him a C plus. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with C plus. I mean, C plus.
Because I understand. I mean, he's played well at times for us, but Avakazi told me that we're doing a redraft of the 2019 draft. We're grading the draft as it is, and let's be honest, it's not a good value to draft a guy of Josh Jacobs' talent in the first round.
Yeah.
What a special running back to me at least could break that long one.
Yeah.
Like he's a threat to score. Like, you know what I mean? Like he puts the fear in that defense. But he hasn't shown me that. You know what I mean? All of his explosive runs came in his first year, and they weren't really for touchdowns. They were just long runs. And I'm not trying to take anything from his production the first year. He played well, but like, man, it's all about value. Like literally, I don't know if anybody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this draft, there's a lot of good running backs in this draft that we can get in the later rounds, and probably might be able to get good production out of them with this coaching staff. Just throwing it out there.
I will say I do like his red zone efficiency. That's been pretty good for the most part. But for me personally, since his rookie season, that yards per carry, that's got to be better. 3.9/4. That's average. That's not that great. So and he hasn't really. I mean, you look at his longest runs from each season since his rookie season. It's been 28 yards. 28 yards. I mean, you were just saying you haven't seen him break a big one. We have, the stats are there. He hasn't broken a big one since his rookie season. So, it would be nice to see him, get back to prominence, I guess. But is it going to happen? I don't know.
And I don't want to put it all on him because Ozzy made a good point. The O-line has regressed year after year, especially Tom Cable at head coach. So him playing under Josh McDaniels and his coaching staff is going to be a good thing for him. And also, like Fade mentioned, he's probably not going to get the majority of the carries. So that might help him as far as protecting his body and just putting him in situations where he can succeed. Because, obviously there's a reason why he's not the third down back. There's a reason why he's not playing all 4 downs, because he struggles to pick up blitzes. He struggles. He has, not all the time, but he's had drops receiving the ball. I could remember, I think it was against Dallas. If you guys remember, it could have been a huge, huge catch if he would have caught the ball. It was against Dallas, I think, and he dropped it, and it was right in his hands. Yeah. And I've seen that a couple times with him, but
I'll just say real quickly, just to that point, and we'll go on to Jonathan Abram. I guess there was a reason why he was being pulled out on third downs. I mean, Jalen Richard was the guy who was predominantly in there in those shotgun formations. I mean,
exactly.
For me personally, Jalen Richard was the best. Is the best pass protecting running back in the league. But and maybe that's not so much a knock on Josh Jacobs, but maybe that could be something that he needs to develop and needs to be better. But we'll wait and see. So
it was a difference when he was not playing.
What's that?
It was a difference when Jalen Richard wasn't playing. I think he was hurt for a little bit for most of the season.
Yeah.
And we seen Carr kind of get random blitzes out of nowhere, and he's just looking at the O-line. He's like, "Hey, I called it," and you could see the replay, and he checked to it, and he's just like hella surprised, like, "Hey, I made the check," like, and you see a free blitzer coming at him. That happened a few times with this O-line. Yeah.
Just on that, I just want to say real quickly, because I've always been high on Jalen Richard for the value that he brings to the table. Like when you watch his tape, when you watch him in those shotgun formations and you pay attention, you can see him pointing at the blitzes. You can see him picking them up like he's a center or an offensive lineman. And that's something that I don't see out of a lot of running backs. Like to me personally, and I've beaten this drum so many times, he's the best pass protecting running back in the league, and it will suck to see him go. I mean, you guys name one that's better. But anyways, I gave Josh Jacobs C+. Ozzy, B+, wasn't it?
B. Oh, no, B+, sorry, B+.
B+. Onti 6, what was it for you?
B+ as well.
Yeah. And Pharaoh was a
C+.
Yeah. Fade?
Yeah, I said B. I said B, man.
Okay. All right.
Sound like you want to change his mind.
No. I was gonna say something about Richard, man. He had it before, man. Look what he was getting paid last year. You know what I mean? I mean, he was getting paid more than Josh and a few others. But I like Richard. Don't get me wrong. The guy can catch the ball off the backfield, and he knows how to catch. With the blitzes, he's a great blocker. Yeah, I'd love to keep him on board. So I agree with you.
In my eyes, he lived up to that value. That value he brought. I mean,
you're right. When it comes down to it, he doesn't get hurt very often.
Yeah, but he didn't light the house on fire when it comes to running the ball, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. What your area of expertise is supposed to be when you're a running back. But that value as that pass protecting running back in those shotgun formations for me was worth it. But anyways, we digress. Let's move on to the next pick, which was selected round 1, 27th overall. So this was the first round pick that we had that year. Out of Mississippi State, we took strong safety, a pretty polarizing figure within the Raider community, Jonathan Abram. I'll start with you, Fade. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be pretty critical on this one. I may have to, he's not getting anything higher than a D. I'm going to be honest with you. First of all, he's injury prone. I was kind of pumped up with him at first, that Monday night game, but he got hurt. He's injury prone for one, and best of, availability, right? The guy's never out there. The way he misses tackles, he plays very aggressive. I think he's better. He would be better utilized in the box. Anything behind him, man, he gets bossed. And there were some times when he had some good coverage. He did have some good coverage on some, but man, they're going to pick on him. Look at how many times that they targeted him. I'm going to make this short. I'm just going to say I'll give him a D for that. And I'm actually, to be honest with you, I like Abrams, man. I got an Abrams jersey, and I'm even being generous with that one right now too. I'm hoping that they can do something this year so that, I love to keep them, but let's see what happens after this year. But if I'm going to judge the last 2 seasons, it's a D. Very close to a D minus, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. I just want to shout out Desert Raider. Thanks for joining the stream and gracing us with your presence. DB Cooper, I saw you in here before. Thanks for tagging along. I appreciate you guys stopping by. All right, so we'll go to you next, Pharaoh. We'll go from right to left. Pharaoh, your thoughts?
I guess I'm gonna be the nice guy. Nah, but I just want to say, I like Josh Jacobs as a player. I think Clelin Pharaoh is an average player. And Abram, I like him as a player too. But at the end of the day, he's a player that would have been really successful back in the day. That hard-hitting safety, you know what I mean? It's good on paper. It sounds good, especially to the old school, right? Fans of football. We're old enough to remember how football used to be, how physical it was, how having that hard-hitting safety used to really matter. But in today's NFL, man, you got to cover. You got to cover, man. At the end of the day, and that's not Jonathan Abrams' strengths. But I will say that he does really a really good job in being that enforcer in the box, stopping the run, making those big hits, covering like Fade. I couldn't say any better than Fade. Covering that 5 to 10 yard range, just roaming around there in that box. Feel like he fits in that role. But to draft a guy like that in the first round, where his coverage was not a strength of his, it's just not a good pick. And it just goes back to what I said earlier. John Gruden and Mayock, they had trouble drafting they never looked at value. They just wanted to draft their guys, but you literally could have got those guys later if you really wanted them. Simple as that. And I give him a D plus. So better than Fade. I added a plus. I think he's had some good games with us, but I give him a D plus. Where he was drafted first round, we could have got him in my opinion, you can get a player like him in the 3rd, 4th round. Be honest.
Yeah, he was picked number 27, man. He was pretty close to 2nd round.
With his skill set, it's just man, you can't cover in today's NFL. Are you crazy? God. But go ahead. ONT6 he's shocked. He's just oh my God.
No, I'm just shocked because I agree with everything. I'm giving him a D. I was mad about the pick too at the time. So he hasn't. I want him to prove me wrong because I do have his jersey too as well. But he hasn't proved anything to me. If he switches to linebacker, we'll see, brother. But I'm giving this pick a D. And 2 AR, brother. I'm gonna call it a night, brother, because I gotta be up at 3 because I got a 10-hour shift tomorrow. Thanks for letting me be on the show.
Good to see you, too.
Brother. Be safe. Until next one. Raiders!
Peace out, brother. Peace out.
Yeah.
I think you're on mute, AR. AR, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, my bad. I am on mute.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by on T6. Appreciate you, brother. Sorry, I know it's late at night for some of you guys on the East Coast, but appreciate each and everyone joining in. Just want to give some quick shout outs before we go to you, Ozzy. So, Arkham Raider, thanks for joining in. Appreciate you stopping by. And Raider Bob 85, salute to you. So, thanks everyone. Everyone in the chat that's been keeping active in that. Anyways, Ozzy, we'll go to you, man.
So we're grading in the sense that D minus is less than a D, right?
Yeah.
Right,
sorry,
well
just
then,
before we go, do you know how grades work? So it's D plus, D minus. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's D minus is higher than a D. So I'm just making sure.
No,
D minus is less than a D.
D minus is less than a D.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure because some people do it differently. But yeah, that's all right. I'll give him a D- in that case. So less than a D. Because to me, I wasn't happy with this pick at the time. I'm not going to lie. We've got a player now in the squad that I actually wanted at this pick, which was Rocky Sin. That's a player I wanted at 27, to be honest with you guys. That's the player I was looking at that year.
Good point. I just seen that too. Good point.
Yeah, that's a good
Who was that?
one.
Ozzy? Sorry. What player
Rocky
was it?
Sin. Rocky Sin, the cornerback. Rocky Sin, the one we just picked up in free agency this year. I was very happy when we got him because I actually wanted him. Oh, trade wasn't. Yeah, that's right. Part of the trade with Yannick. So yeah, I wanted him in the 2019 draft over Abram. So I'm going to give it a D- because as the other guys were saying, he's a liability in coverage, and I agree with Doc's brother Andy when he says anything beyond 10 yards is a liability. I think if he doesn't bulk up this season and learn to play some linebacker, he's out.
Okay. Hefe, thanks for joining in the chat. I don't believe that's the same Casey Hefe, is it?
No, it's a different. I made that error in the chat one time. I asked him. No, it's a different Hefe. He doesn't like Hefe Casey. Yeah.
Fair enough. Is it? Yeah. Well, appreciate you.
I made a mistake.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to play the nice guy.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think Jonathan Abram is as bad as what most people seems to feel about him. I do believe there is some value to what he's done in terms of his aggression, in the box ability, his tackling is good. But on the flip side of that, his coverage hasn't been that great. You said it. Anything beyond 10 yards from the line of scrimmage, he's a liability. I hope and I wish that could be better. But he has developed a little bit. This year he wasn't as terrible as he was those first 2 years in terms of his coverage, but it still needs to be better. I believe he has brought some he has had some good moments. I mean, granted, he's a first round pick, and we're grading based on production and value, and it could be better, but I don't think he has been as bad as I feel he's been better than most have. So me personally, I'm going to give the pick a solid C. So I'm going to be the nice guy. I mean, he's not. It could be better. Could have been a better pick, but I don't think it's as terrible as what most see.
I think we're grading him on him becoming better. I think he has a potential, and we're all kind of both sided on this. I mean, we're saying positive and negative things about him. So yeah, he's got some negative things, but I think if he works on it, he could be up to a B. Seriously, yeah. I want him to succeed, man, because I really love the heart and passion that he has. Like Ferrell said, like that old mentality, the old school linebacker or safety ways, like the Lots and the Tatums and those type guys, Atwater and all those guys that would come in and just hit you right across the middle. He has that in him, but he just has to be careful. He's got, I hope he does well.
That's one thing I will say that he managed to develop the season. And shout out to you, Hefe LV. I love that comment. Appreciate you, man. I love his aggression, but there were so many times those first 2 seasons he overexerted with his aggression. Yeah, but last season it seemed evident that it was more controlled aggression. He wasn't giving away too many silly penalties, trying to make a play or hitting hard, hitting high. You know what I mean? So that was good to see. He was playing a lot more control last season, and I still believe he can develop. But then again, it's been 3 seasons. Like, you really want to have developed already better than what he has. So, yeah, we'll move on from Jonathan Abrams. Solid C from me. So you gave him a D-, Ozzy?
Yeah, D- for me.
D-. Was it D- from you as well, Pharaoh?
I gave him a D+. I was a little
D+.
nicer than everybody else, but
and
I guess you were the nicest on the panel.
Yeah, I gave him a D.
I'll take second.
Yeah, I think that was the harshest this time.
All right.
I gave him a D. I'm in between Pharaoh and Ozzy. So yeah, I gave him a D.
I'll be the nice guy. All right. Well, this is going to be an interesting one. I'll be interested to see your takes. The next pick was round 2, 40th overall. We took Trayvon Mullen out of Clemson. He's been a solid at times, a decent number 2 option. I guess I'll go first, and we'll move from me to Ozzy. Trayvon Mullen, we got him out of the second round, and he's had some decent moments. He hasn't been excellent, but he's been good when he's been on the field. But last season, he spent most of the season on the sideline. He's serviceable, decent number 2 option, but I mean, he's not a number 1 for sure. I don't know what role he's going to play with this new roster, new regime. They seem to have made some moves at corner, and they're looking at still making some moves at corner with possibly bringing in is it Stephon or Stephen Gilmore? I think it's Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon Gilmore.
Stephon. Yeah.
But in terms of his body of work and value that he's brought to the table, round 2, I'm going to give Trayvon Mullen. I'll give him a B-. Ozzy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I'm probably going to go a C+. Just because he's a good man-to-man guy, but I've noticed sometimes he suffers a little bit in zone. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but that's how it looks to me when I'm watching him play. He's a good man-to-man corner, but he just looks like he doesn't play zone as good as he does man. I mean, that could change in Graham's defense. I don't know. Have to wait and see. But like, he's still a solid player, though. Like, I think he could be a solid number 2 for us. I think that's why we brought in Rock Ya-Sin. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Rock Ya-Sin at cornerback 1, to be honest. Like, again, I think if memory serves me correctly, Rock Ya-Sin was still on the board at this point. So, again, I wanted Rock Ya-Sin over Mullen. Because I do believe he was drafted in the second round. I think it was after Mullen, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, once again, he was a player that I feel like he wasn't as good as someone on the board in the same position. So, yeah, I give him a C+.
Fair.
I pretty much agree with you guys. I mean, I'm around that C+ to B- grade. We got him in the second. I feel like I've seen like talent there to be a number 2 corner. I haven't seen talent enough for him to be number 1. So I haven't seen him take that next step to be a number 1 corner. I haven't seen that enough. Maybe that has something to do with Paul Gunther and and just the different coaching staff, coaching schemes, and obviously last year he was really hurt. But you can't really say that he was hurt every year he came in the league, like a Josh Jacobs or any other players that we've been talking about, like Abrams. He's actually kind of been healthy for the most part, I think. Last year was definitely like a year where he probably wants to get. I mean, hopefully this year he'll be healthy, but I think last year was kind of like his only time where he was hurt. So I give him, in my opinion, I give him like a C+ B- around there. I feel like he's a solid number 2 corner when healthy, when playing right, and especially if you combine a good scheme that fits his skill set, that man-to-man corner bump and run. Like Ozzy said, like I don't know if he's a good zone corner, but a scheme like this will help a lot. And Cool Kev is always he's a tough cookie, man. So he's saying scheme. Man, hey, look, I think he could be a solid corner in the system. Be honest with you, I think he could be a solid corner, and I never really thought like Mullen was like a bust. Like I was like, damn, I was mad about Mullen. I was like, you know what, that was actually a solid pick. Like I like Mullen, but
yeah, he's not a bust. He's a solid number 2 option in my opinion at best, but he's definitely not a number 1. Fade.
No, I agree with you guys. I could have said it any better. He's not a 1. He's a number 2. I mean, I think he stands out because we have the Robertsons, we had the Arnett's out there. You know, the good thing that we picking up Hobbs, that he looked. You know, Hobbs looked great too. But Arnett, man, he's got a not Arnett. Oh my gosh, Mullen. I was kind of high on him coming out of Clemson. You know, I don't know. He's injury prone too. But if I was to choose, I'd be like what Ferrell says, man, between a B- and C+. It's right in between. It's a really thin line there, you know, because would I want to get rid of him? No, I want to keep him on the team. But I think he's a solid number 2 for us.
Mm-hmm.
Nate TKO, appreciate you stopping by. Thousands of miles away and just as passionate. Yes, we are. I say it a few times. In my eyes, in my opinion, I know I'm being biased, but nobody bleeds silver and black more than I do. So, yeah. Take that for what you will, but appreciate you stopping by.
Raidernation is worldwide, man. It's
Yes,
really
sir.
worldwide. Like, it's crazy.
We are, for sure.
There's only one nation.
Cool, Kev. Mullen grabs and gets costly pass interference calls. Yeah, that's true to an extent. But he's done some things. He's provided some value at number 2. So I gave him a B-. Ozzy, you gave him a C+, was it?
Yeah, C+. And I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
He has played well against guys like you in the past. Like I've seen him make some good plays here and there. So that's why I say he's definitely at least a solid number 2. Like he's not a number 1 at this point, but he is a solid number 2 corner.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh, what did you gave him a C+?
Yeah, I gave him like C+, B-. And Cool Kev is like, you had no mercy on Pharaoh and you said I'm tough. Well, hey man, like Pharaoh at number 4 is different from getting a Mullen in the second round. Like, I'm okay with getting a Mullen in the second round. Like that, because at the second, and when you get a player in the second round, getting a solid starter is actually a good thing. Like, hey, I'm good with that. First round, if we can get starters in the first round too, that's cool too. Because let's be real, there's not everybody in the first round is going to be Hall of Famers. Maybe it might be 1 or 2, but like, and everybody else might be really good players. And I don't want to get into all that, but getting Pharaoh in the 4, come on, number 4, and he's an average player. Let's be honest, he's average.
I'm with you 100%. I made that point. Same points you've made. I've been beating that drum all last season. It's not good enough getting what we've got out of him at number 4. But anyways,
okay, guys, you guys already talked about it, man.
We've already talked about it. Fade,
going back to the first pick again.
What was your grade, Fade? Was C+?
Mine was like with Ferrell, like B-, C+, right in between there. He's a solid 2 to starter, but he's a number 2.
Fair enough. All right. Well, look, this is when things start to get real spicy.
We don't need to talk about it.
Round 4 was our next one. We didn't have any third round picks that particular year. And with our round 4, pick 106 overall, we selected the man himself. I'm rocking his jersey. I bought that when I came to the US and watched him live, getting 3 sacks versus the Bengals. Wow. Was he defensive player of the year last year?
No, not defensive player of the year. But he made second team All Pro.
Yeah.
Obviously, he made the Pro Bowl
this year.
And respected. And he's highly respected around the league. He's one of the best up and coming DNs, pass rushers. In the league.
I reckon he should have been defensive player. He had more pressures than anyone else.
Well, out of Eastern Michigan, we I don't know. I thought I hadn't heard of him when we drafted him, but a lot of the analysts were high on the pick, and sure enough, like it's turned out to be probably the steal of the draft outside of him and Hunter Renfrow. But I'll start off with you, Pharaoh, if you want to give your takes first, or have you dipped out?
Oh yeah, hold on 1 second.
All right, well we'll go with. Do you want to start, or do you want to go with?
This is going to be easy, real quick. A+.
Fade?
A+. It's easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna give A+. And I'll be honest with you. The first time I heard of him was on Hard Knocks. I was watching Hard Knocks and I saw him, and I think he broke his hand and still went out there and probably go, man, this guy's a beast. He's a Raider. But yeah, easy A+.
I'm gonna be like the super nice guy. A+++++++.
Cool, Kev, man. You're hilarious, bro.
Oh, Kev. What's up, Cool Kev?
Maxx Crosby is the A- for you? Damn.
I'm going to go A+ as well. The value that we've gotten out of him, the fact that he's progressed year in and year out, and now he's one of the premier defensive ends or defensive players in the league, and he's only going to get better. The only one minute little thing that needs to be a little bit better is his run D at times. But everything else
improved this year, though.
That was a home run pick. We smashed it out of the ballpark with this one. So for me, it was a no-brainer, A+. Maxx Crosby, one of the steals, if not the steal of the draft. And we got him in round 4 when we selected Pharaoh at number 4.
Yeah, he was 106, 106 pick.
Yeah, everything we wanted in Clee, we got in Maxx Crosby.
Yeah, crazy.
I give him an A++. And if you look at the 2021 season, look at the pressures, man. Because to me, pressures are just more important than sacks at times. Because pressures can force turnovers, pressures can force interceptions in the secondary, right? And get you good field position and all that. So sometimes pressures are just as important, if not more important, than sacks. And that pressure rate last year, and if you look at the jump that he made in the run defense as well, from like a 56.1 to a 76.7, it shows that
progressing.
he's progressing in the run defense as well, and that their pass rush grade is insane, 91.8. So
Hey man, and how many times did he get held, man? He got held
and then
a lot.
I was actually
I'm telling you, man, it was.
Yeah, you took
He didn't get a lot of calls either.
Actually, I was actually about to say that being on the Raiders, he gets held a lot and it does not get called. That pressure should be up more. The sack should be up more.
Yep.
The pass rush grade should be up more because of the fact that he's held almost every single time.
Yep.
And I think it's just playing for the Raiders, man. Because if you remember, Khalil Mack was held a lot too.
Yeah, they were literally tackling him.
They
were literally tackling him, and it was never getting.
They weren't calling calls for him too as well, and they're doing the same thing to Maxx Crosby as well. So
yeah, they always do.
But despite all that, I mean, to your point, Ozzy, that QB pressures for that last season, a 101, that led the league. That is insane.
That's why to me he should have been Defensive Player of the Year, but then again, Raiders get ripped off. So
but he's definitely one of the premier. One of the premier defensive players in the whole league in general. So, hey, Will, appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining the chat feed. Sorry, drinking these drinks. They're making me burp a lot. My bad. Anyways, we're all in agreement with Maxx. A+, A+++ from Ozzy. Pharaoh, you gave him a straight up A, or did you give him an A+ as well?
I gave him it's A+. It's no
A+.
question.
And Fade?
Home run.
Plus.
Yep. Plus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to move on to Isaiah Johnson, selected round 4, 129th overall. Will maybe towards the end, if you want to jump in, we'll let you share your thoughts on that. So Isaiah Johnson, cornerback, we got him out of Houston University. He's not on our roster anymore. He played 2 seasons with us. Now he's with the Steelers. I'm going to go first and share my thoughts on Isaiah Johnson. He was a guy I saw. I liked his size, and in bump and run coverage, he seemed to be okay, but he didn't seem to take that next step as his career progressed. I will say I do remember fondly that game where he played against the Chargers. Do you remember that 2020 game versus the Chargers, where he pretty much won us the game by making play after play? Right? And he had 2 pass deflections in the last 2 plays of the game, which pretty much won it for us. And seeing him getting all emotional, like that's a picture from that game too, that I put up on the screen there. I remember that game fondly from him. That was one of the games from a particular player that I remember, the most as well. So, that will be my fondest memory of him. But outside of that, it was few and far between when it comes to like his production, and you can see it there. His coverage grade wasn't that great for that season alone, and then we jettisoned him quick smart, I believe, before the start of last season. So my grade for Isaiah Johnson, oh god, I'm gonna have to go with C- just for that game alone. Outside of that, he didn't do much. I know that's kind of being I don't know, it might be a funny way of looking at it, but that's me being generous. C-. Ozzy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be the not nice guy. I'm going to give him a D+. He never really took that next step with us. He had some moments here and there, but he never really progressed to a level of being like a sustainable role player or starter on our team. So I give it a D+.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those incomplete D+, C-. Like, it's just one of those like, what honestly, when you get to the 4th round and below, it's like it's almost like a crapshoot. It gets even harder and harder to like really draft, in my opinion. You can argue that, hey man, you can get some players in the 4th, which might be true, but not every team can do that. And Isaiah Johnson, I don't know,
more than not.
Yeah, he's talent. Like he had talent when coming out. Like the fact that he was a former receiver in college and converted into a cornerback, and he had the size. So it just kind of made you like think like, damn, like if this guy he must have really good ball skills. He's be a former receiver, and have out there in corner. And he has all this talent, but he never took that next step, like you guys were saying. He just never did. And And I remember that game too. He made that was one hell of a play. So I might give him a C- just for that, but also incomplete because look at his career. It's like 2 years. He's still playing in the NFL. He's still playing. I think he's playing with the Steelers.
I think he went to Indy first, and then he went to the Steelers.
Okay, so he's still around. So okay, so that there's some talent there that other teams are recognizing. So
yeah, but he hasn't played for either. I don't think that's why I only put up those stats there. He hasn't even played for those teams.
Yeah. So C- D+, somewhere around there. Incomplete. I don't know.
Yeah, just before I go to you, Fade, like I agree. I mean, like if we get production from the fourth round after, and they're on after, fantastic. If we missed with those picks, it's not so much a big deal. But anyways, Fade, want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a D+, and it's funny, just probably because of that Charger game,
Yeah,
and like Ferrell says, sort of like incomplete too. I mean, the next two picks that we got higher grades than he did. I'll tell you that they performed on the field.
For sure.
So we'll talk about those too. But that's why I can't go any higher than D+.
Right. So I'll C-, D+, and D. Okay, gotcha. Ray Love, appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for joining the stream. It's a lot of corn on the cobs you got there. All right. So with the next pick, another fourth rounder, we selected tight end out of LSU, 173rd overall, Foster Moreau. Backup tight end before he started for us last season because we were missing Darren Waller for the majority of last season. A lot of people saying he'd be a starter on most other teams. We did give him that opportunity to start, and it was unfortunate. I think he didn't produce as much as what I would have liked and what we would have hoped. But he's been decent the season before that. But it seems like he has regressed a little. But I'm going to start with you, Fade. You want to give your takes first, and then we'll go from Fade to Pharaoh, Ozzy, then myself.
Yeah, I had high hopes on him, especially when Waller went down, and he did step up. I think he probably in some ways he probably could have done a little better, but I would still keep him on the team, for what he did for his playing time. What did he get this year? Like 373 yards, right? Okay. Okay. 174, 140 to 373.
Yeah.
And
30 receptions on 43 targets.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's not a bad blocker either. He's got good size. I would say with him, I'd say B. I'm kind of reaching on that a little bit. I mean, I could, I think he's better than a C. He could be a B-. I need to see more out of him, because we have Waller there, right? But,
yes.
And I don't know if it was a tight end position during this, because even Waller kind of regressed during the season too. So I don't know if it was a play calling with the tight ends and why they were utilizing him as much, or if it was Carr or what. But I'll give him a B-.
B-. Fair.
I give him like a B. Give him a B. Hey, we're not gonna draft Hall of Famers in every round, every pick. Right. Like sometimes, yeah, you want to get starters, especially in the first 3 rounds, because that's when you get those talented players. That's a good time to get those types of players because they're going to be available. But for the most part, like you want to fill out your roster with like solid players, special team players. And I feel like Moreau, he's been a solid contributor to the team. He's been a solid backup. Has he showed enough to be a starter? No. In my opinion, nah. He hasn't. He just when given the opportunity, he didn't really step up. If you ask players in the beginning of last season who was going to be the breakout player, who's going to be the guy that like was going to have the biggest season, a lot of them were saying Moreau. Like he was looking good in training camp, had a really good offseason, but he just didn't take that next step with us, especially with Waller being out for the amount of time that he was out. You couldn't show me anything other than like maybe a catch here and there. Like, I think his best game was probably
B-, Ferrell, and you went B. That's why I went B-. For everything you're saying right now, that's why I went B-.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we got, like I've been saying, if you guys haven't listening, I'm gonna say it again to the chat. I've been preaching value. When you draft, you got to draft with value. In the fourth round, getting a guy like Moreau, like a solid contributor to the team, that's a B. I give it to him. He's still with the team. Still could possibly even stay with the team with McDaniels. I'm just putting that out there. So I'll say a B, in my opinion. He's a B.
Good takes there. Good takes. Ozzy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a C plus on this one, just because I want to see more out of Moreau. Like if you look at how he started in 2019 and before the knee injury and stuff, he was looking really good. Like he was looking really promising. And then since coming back from the knee injury and stuff, he still contributed, but he just hasn't looked as good as he did in that Colts game in 2019. If you guys remember, he looked excellent in that Colts game in 2019. He just hasn't looked the same since coming back from that injury. So I'm hoping that maybe this year with Daniel's offense, where they utilize tight ends and stuff, he's going to get some more burn, and we'll see more of that 2019 Moreau. If we do see that, I could even move him up as high as a B plus. But at the moment, I give it a C plus.
All right. I was on the train of thought that like he could be a starter on most of the teams. Foster Moreau, to your point, showed a lot of promise in that rookie season, especially in that game you were talking about, Ozzy. By the numbers, it seems like he has regressed since that rookie season. Not dramatically, but just noticeably. But he has produced as a fourth round pick. We have gotten some production out of him. He's still a very, very serviceable tight end. It's just unfortunate that like we said that on most other teams he could be a starter, and then when we thrust him into that starting role because Darren Waller went down, I was like, right, this is his time to shine. And it was just unfortunate that we didn't get as much production. I think there was a game or two where he did produce this year, but like it wasn't as much as what we were hoping for in Darren Waller's stead. But to your point, Pharaoh, the value that we've gotten out of him, being that he's still on our roster, he is a serviceable starting tight end if Darren Waller goes down, who's our unequivocal starter. And he has produced, not substantially, but there's talent and production there, especially with those touchdowns. I mean, in the last 3 seasons, 10 touchdowns, that's pretty good. That's decent for a guy coming off the bench. I'm going to give it a B minus. No, actually, you know what? Solid B for where we got it. All right, so this is a good one. Round 5. Out of Clemson, we selected slot wide receiver, 149th overall. You already know what it is, Hunter Renfrow. The numbers speak for itself. I'll go first, and we'll move left to right. To me, like I said, him and Maxx Crosby were the steals of the draft. First-time Pro Bowler last year, broke that 1,000-yard yards for the season and 100 receptions. I think that was a Raider record, wasn't it? He broke the Raider record.
Yeah, 4 receivers.
Yeah. And he's only been trending upwards with his production. I mean, you can see it there with his numbers and that. Has one of the best shimmy shakes in the league when it comes to his route running. One of, if not the best slot receiver in the league. Has really come onto his own. To get him in the 5th round, a Pro Bowler, one of, if not the best slot receiver in the league, it's a no-brainer. That for me is an A+. Ozzy.
Yeah, I'm going to go A+ as well. And like my comparison for him coming out of college, because I watched a bit of the Clemson games, was my NFL comp for him was a Julian Edelman, and that's exactly, well, he's his own guy now, but that's exactly the kind of player he's turning into. And I think that's exactly the kind of role he's going to play in this McDaniels offense, is that Julian Edelman slot receiver type of a role. So, and he's continued to progress year after year after year, getting better in his route running, getting even like sharper in his cuts and stuff. And he's just going to keep getting better and better. And I think he has the potential to be a future Hall of Famer if he keeps going on the path he's on now.
Hall of Fame is a very big
step
to make it 3 seasons in. You need to be doing that in 10 seasons, but
I know. I'm just calling it now. I'm just saying if he continues on the path he's on now, he's going to get there one day.
Yeah. Cool Kev is high on him as well. There we go. Cool Kev. A little bit of positivity. A+, best thing since Tim Brown.
Exactly. Cool Kev, 100.
Pharaoh.
It's an easy one, man. It's A+. The thing is, I'm noticing a lot of people are kind of judging the actual player and not judging like the actual pick, like who we're getting, but where are we getting them?
Yeah.
Because this is a draft, you know, like I said, like you're gonna have to draft a player at a spot, right? At the end of the day, like, and obviously Renfrow and Maxx Crosby, it's easy. Like, you know, you get like a Maxx Crosby. If we would have redrafted, Maxx Crosby would have went in the first round. Renfrow would you say he would have won this first round, maybe the second round? I don't know.
Yeah, around
I gotta see all the players in this draft and like rank them. But Hall of Famer, I like Renfrow. I like he's one of my favorite players on the team. I really do. But Hall of Famer, that
man. Like
I haven't seen. Hey, look, I haven't seen a game,
Hall of Fame
type game from Renfrow. I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that to say that.
I'm with you, Farrah. I'm with you.
You know what
like,
I'm saying?
I like Renfrow too, but you can't make that call so early in a guy's career that they're going to be a Hall of Famer. You just can't.
Yeah, man. It's just like I haven't seen like 15 catches, 195 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like where I'm like, damn, Renfrow's dominating. I've seen Waller do that, you know, against the Jets. I think what he had like 20 catches or 200 something yards. It was some crazy stat line.
19,
like,
I think. Yeah,
it was crazy, but yeah, man. Renfrow's A plus. Got him in the 5th round, and he's one of our best players on the team. Reliable, 3rd down guy. Love him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But Ozzy, not to totally shut you down. Maybe one day, and I hope you're right. And then if and when he does, you can turn around to us and say, "I told you so." Right?
Yeah, you heard it here.
Good problem.
What's up, problem? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you, brother. Just before we move to you, Fade, Farrah, do you want to jump out and jump back in? I think your camera's bugging out, man.
Okay, hold on one second.
Yeah. I'll bring you back in. Fade.
Yeah, it's an A plus. You know the one thing about him too, I mean, he's not a very big receiver, but man, the way he runs his routes, you know, and he scares the heck out of me every time he catches that ball, you know, and and we haven't even talked about this right now. What about his returns? You know,
yeah, good point.
You know, that's another thing right there. We've got the returns, another weapon right there. Hopefully we don't utilize him that much anymore because we don't want him to get hurt. But man, this guy, if you're going to talk about where we picked him up in the 5th round, this player, come on, man, that's an A plus. And only time will tell, Ozzy. We all want him to be there. It is kind of early, but yeah, I mean, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he needs a few big games. He's still young. He keeps playing, and hopefully he'll be there one day. I've seen there's people in there that got in there before Cliff Branch, right? So,
sure.
You know.
Yeah, but then again, I think that's rare to hate in that one, to be honest.
No, I know. You get like Lynn Swan and guys like that shouldn't have been in there before him. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, A plus, hands down.
Yeah, for sure.
So problem.
I mean, salute to you, problem. I think I said hello, but if I didn't, appreciate you stopping by. Farrah, if you can pull back up, would appreciate it so we can finish this off with you in the on the panel. But yeah, I mean, the value we got out of round 5, getting a guy of Hunter Renfrow's caliber and production has just been phenomenal. And yeah, another home run pick out of the draft in those mid to late rounds. It's just unfortunate that we didn't get these home run picks in the first round because I don't know where would we be if we hit it out of the ballpark like we did in the mid to late rounds in that first round. Geez, we may have already won a Super Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, and we talked about Mayock's and Gruden's picks, right? And we're like, hey, they blew it in the first round, second round, but man, they did pretty good in the later rounds, though. You know?
Yeah, I think that's why it's more Gruden in the earlier rounds than Mayock. But just to touch up on one thing that Pharaoh was mentioned earlier, because I was trying to remember which game it was, but it was actually the Cowboys game last year, where Hunter Renfrow had 8 catches for 134 yards, 16.8 yards per average. Unfortunately, he didn't get some TDs in that game. Otherwise, it would have made all the difference. But yeah, if a slot receiver is getting 16.8 yards on average in a game, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and that is very good. Just another thing I really like about Hunter Renfrow was his IQ. Do you
Yeah,
remember
he's very
that
smart.
particular play where it was it against the Chargers or the Bengals where they were lining up for a special teams play?
Yeah,
and the other team was, I think it was the Chargers game.
Chargers
where,
Monday night.
Yeah, the way they were lined up, there was a wide open player on the wing. And Hunter Renfrow was in that returning slot, and he was screaming out, "We need someone there! We need someone there!"
Yeah.
And nobody heard him. And he ended up he saw that the fake was coming, so he went running over. He sprinted from the other side of the field over there. As soon as they went for the play was like I think it was the guy snapped it or the returner, the punter threw it to a wide open wide receiver, and just as he caught it, Hunter Renfrow was already there, putting in the shoulder, caused
I went to that game, man. You could hear that hit in the stadium, man. The stadium went crazy when he made that hit.
Any other player in that position, that would have been to the races, to the house, touchdown. But Hunter Renfrow had the smarts to see it before it happened, was already over there, made the play, and that just goes to show his IQ and smarts. So
yeah, that's why I say it's elite.
Just to wrap it up with Hunter Renfrow, we all gave him A pluses, no brainer for us. A plus.
Yeah, he's elite. His route running is elite. His football IQ is elite. His hands are elite.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. All right, so just to finish off the draft, the last pick, a guy that was picked out of obscurity. That I remember at the time when they picked him. When I was watching the TV coverage, the truck didn't even have tape on this guy, and even the analysts were scratching their heads like, "Who the hell is this guy?" But there he is, Quentin Bell, outside linebacker. I don't even know what college that is, but a guy who's, he played. I remember the preseason that particular year. He did okay. He didn't stay on our roster. He's bounced around the league. He's stuck around with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now he's on the Falcons. I'm not. For me, it's an incomplete grade. I can't really grade this one too much, but it was a 7th rounder. I will say though, a testament to him to be able to get him so late and to come from a small, very, very small school and to still be in the league. That's all I'll say about Quentin Bell. Does anybody else want to share any thoughts on Quentin Bell?
Incomplete.
We'll make it short and sweet. Fade?
I echo you guys' comments, man. Incomplete.
Yeah, I say incomplete, but if I was to give it anything, I'll still give it a C just because it's late. He's still in the league. It's a 7th rounder. So it's still C grade because, he's still bouncing around the league. He's not out of the league completely, and it's the 7th round, so whatever.
Yeah. Like I said, credit to him to still be in the league and to our staff to have actually seen that he had that capability to stay in the league. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But unfortunately for us, he hadn't really done much. So that was to finalize the draft. But it's not over yet because we're going to move on to notable undrafted free agents, the guys that weren't drafted, but we signed up after the draft. And you can see it for yourself. There's quite a few key players that we managed to grab outside of the draft. Namely, Alec Ingold, Andre James, AJ Cole. We got some, contributors in Keyshawn Nixon, who was a decent-ish depth piece. Lester Cotton has been in and out of the roster as well as a, depth at guard, and Keelan Doss, everyone's favorite Hard Knocks wide receiver from that year. So there has been very notable production out of that undrafted free agency class, particularly AJ Cole, who made his first Pro Bowl last year, one of the best, if not the best punter in the league. Alec Ingold, one of the better fullbacks, unfortunately not on our roster anymore, but a very popular and cult figure within the Raider community. And Andre James, who's now our starter at center. He had a rough start last season, but he did start coming along towards the end. And, he's shown enough to me to have some faith in him to continue to progress and be one of the hopefully be one of the better centers in the league. He's still got a way to go, but to get him as an undrafted free agent and to now be our unquestioned starter, that counts for something. Does anybody else want to share any thoughts on the undrafted free agents?
Yeah, I'll just quickly say that I agree with what you're saying about James. He started off a bit rough, especially he wasn't even, I think it was maybe nervous or something. He wasn't even snapping the ball properly at the beginning, but I think
Confident.
I think it was just maybe the nerves were starting a little bit, probably as well, contributed to that. And but I think he's notably progressed right after like the halfway point of the season, and he's continued to progress from there. I think at one point, he had a higher grade than Rodney Hudson by PFF. So
I think he did.
That goes to That's right. So it goes to show it was the right move. We were spending too much on that O-line. We've got a young guy, undrafted, who's now a starting center. He's become a solid piece on that O-line. And I think with a guy like, how do you pronounce his name, Brasilio? I think with Brasilio, it's going to get better. I think the whole O-line is going to get better under a O-line coach. So I think there's still, he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. So I think he's going to get even better.
Right?
I mean, the three players that stand out to me, Cole, obviously, James, they're both on the team, they're starters. Ingold, man, I'm sad to see him go because, to me, he was a Raider, and he played with a lot of heart. It's just unfortunate that we can't utilize him. But, I mean, at first I was kind of shocked that we let him go and then we pick up another fullback, right?
Yeah,
I think it was money.
I know Ingold got hurt.
I don't think it was money at all. I think it was just they wanted to go in a different direction. We could have kept him.
Yeah,
the money to
but I think maybe the fullback that we have now is probably better out of the backfield catching. Time will tell on that. That's the only thing I have mixed feelings with Ingold, but that's probably more of a sensitive, being a little biased on that one because I love the kid, but other than that, man, Doss, he's just a preseason guy for us, practice squad guy. I mean, if you're going to be on the team for 4 years on the practice squad, I mean. We might as well just move on from him. Maybe. I don't know. I don't see him on the field much during the season. Always bringing players in. But that's just my take, in my opinion. And that's all I have to say about that group there.
Pharaoh, you want to share any thoughts on the undrafted?
Yeah, it's hard for me to really be hard on undrafted free agents when it comes to grades because it's literally low risk, high reward. There's if they don't work out, then too bad. It is what it is. Or if they do work out, oh my God, home run. You know what I mean? It's just not. It just is what it is. But I will say this: I do see a lot of A's and B pluses, in my opinion, specifically for players. I'm going to include obviously AJ Cole. He was just handed a contract to be the starting punter for the Raiders now. And he's an undrafted free agent. That was a great pickup.
Made his Pro Bowl.
That's an A in my book. Alec Ingold, another A in my opinion, because he was a key contributor to this team. Captain. He was the captain last year. So he was a good leader in that locker room. And you get him as an undrafted free agent. That's an A. That's A.
Yeah.
First touchdown ever in Vegas, too.
Yeah, exactly. So he has that, on his resume.
Yeah.
And Raider fans, he was a fan favorite. And Andre James, another A. He's your starting center. He's an undrafted free agent. That's all you got to say.
Big shoes to fill too.
Yeah, and I know that he struggled a little bit, but he got better as the season went on. But at the end of the day, he's an undrafted free agent, and he's your starting center. And you guys, they handed him a big contract because they were confident in him. So I would say that's an A plus. That's an A.
Yeah,
just A straight up. And Keyshawn Nixon, special team stalwart, came in. He had some good snaps with us at cornerback. I thought he played well. You know what I mean? At times, there were times when he stepped in, he filled in pretty well, and he filled out he was a nice depth piece on our defenses at corner.
And he has some good energy too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Obviously, the Raiders are going in a different direction, and they, he went on, and I think did he sign with Green Bay?
Yes, he's with the Packers now.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So in my opinion, Keyshawn Nixon is a B. I give him an A, man. Honestly, if you pick up an undrafted free agent and he's a good solid depth piece, that's A.
Yeah.
It's
A. To your point, I wasn't going to grade the undrafted free agents individually, but as a collection to get, how many years do you get that many, not just contributors, but key contributors?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
As undrafted free agents. Yes, Keyshawn Nixon, Lester Cotton, and Keelan Doss provided depth. Keyshawn Nixon was a good depth piece. Lester Cotton has had his ins and outs, but to get 3 starters, key contributors leaders of the team, like in terms of Alec Gold was a leader. Andre James can maybe develop to be that. I don't know. But all three of them starters, and all three of them have produced for us. And to get them out of the as undrafted free agents, that we hit it out of the ballpark with that one. So I'm going to go back to our opening screen.
I'll just add one thing to what you're saying there, and that just brings me to my other point, which is I think a lot of the criticism that Mayo got is like undeserved, because I think a lot of those moves, like the undrafted free agents, the late round picks, were more likely to do with him, because I do believe that Gruden controlled like those first couple rounds, 3 rounds, a lot more, had a lot more influence on those picks than the later ones. And so I think Mayo kind of got like a rough deal.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah. I'll just add that in there.
Well, we'll start with you. Well, do you want to give just an overall grade, Ozzy, and we'll go to Fade, Pharaoh, and then myself?
Overall, when Ferrell was a reach, Josh Jacobs was a reach, Abram was a reach. Mullen, it could be a solid number 2. Crosby is a superstar. Isaiah was kind of between an okay and a bust. Moroe's solid depth. Renfrow superstar, and Quentin Jefferson didn't make the team, so I give it an overall grade for C+.
C+. Whoa. Okay. I thought you would have been a little bit more generous with that one, but
no, I'm being generous with that because of Renfrow and Crosby, especially, and Mullen. Those three in
saved the
particular.
draft. They
saved the draft. If it wasn't for that, I'd be giving it an F, kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Hey man, I'm going to be generous on that, and I wouldn't even call it generous. I don't think it was a bad draft if you really look at it. I mean, you got the Renfrows, you got the Crosbys, and and even Mullen, he still can be a superstar out there. He's a starter, and who knows if they utilize Abram right. So I'm going to I'm not going to go A, but I'm going to go with this draft here. I'm going to go B. I mean, I'll go B minus, but I'll go B. Because Jacob still has a potential of tearing it up, Mullen still has potential, so only time will tell. But as of right now, I'd say a B.
Yeah. Just before we move, Jason Thomas, appreciate you for stopping by, man. You're a guy who's been a big supporter of my channel on a lot of the lives, and I really do appreciate each and every time you've shouted me out. Much love to you, brother. Maybe one day we can have you on the panel again soon. So appreciate you for stopping by.
So JT,
Pharaoh, you wanna share your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's weird. You know what I mean, with Mayock and Gruden, and I'll give credit to, I think Ozzy, you were kind of alluding to this. I'll give credit to Mayock in the later rounds, because Gruden was probably falling asleep at that time. His attention span probably was too low to go to the 5th, 4th round. At that point, he was like, all right, Gruden, all right, Mayock, do what you got to do. But the first, because it was so weird. It was so weird. In the first few rounds, it was like all types of reaches.
Reaches, yeah.
It's just like weird picks where you'd be like, what? Like, what are you, Alex Leatherwood in the first round? Like, Pharaoh in the first round? And
Arnett?
And even
Arnett.
Look, not in the first round.
In that great draft next year.
Yeah, and the thing is too.
No, I get it.
I said all that to say, and I was hard on the early picks because there was an overall theme of how I was judging these picks is value. You know what I mean? Like if you switch the picks around, this could have been an A+ home run draft.
Yeah,
if you switch
just because how well they did in the later rounds, but they did so poorly in the first few rounds because they could have got better players and better value at different positions, different players. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. I will say overall, I think it's probably like a B- C+, because Maxx, to get a player like Maxx Crosby, man, dude's a superstar. I'm glad he's on our team. Hunter Renfrow, I wouldn't call him a superstar. I'd call him a really good player, but I'm glad he's on our team. Like he definitely needs to get extended. Josh Jacobs is a good player. As much as I got on him, it was more of like, damn, we drafted him in the first round, and we could have got someone else. We could have got a better value at a different position. in the first round, he's still a good player. Mullen, another good player. You know what I mean? A starter. Moreau, solid contributor. And Abram, he's solid if you give him a role. If you keep him at that role, he could be solid. He can contribute. And Pharaoh, hopefully Graham could like bring him, I don't know, show us that he can be better than what he's shown us so far. But yes, I say like a C plus B minus.
Yeah, well, like there's 7 players up there that helped us get to the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of weird to look at this. It's one of the weirdest drafts of all time. Like it's just weird.
Yeah, but I feel like everything up to the 4th round was a reach.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, like how many? Because a lot of these players are contributed to this team.
Yeah, they were in the playoffs this year, and 7 of those players up there helped us get there.
Yeah.
It's still good players, but it's just everything up to the 4th round, everything up to Maxx Crosby was a reach.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give my take now. You got to look at the value that we've gotten as a whole. I'm grading this draft as a whole. I mean, we didn't hit it out of the ballpark in the first round, but they still contributed. Okay, there's still players on our roster. They're still there. They still have a role to play. Even Ferrell. Those later rounds, I mean, we got a solid number 2 in Trayvon Mullen. We got 2 superstars in the late rounds in Maxx Crosby and Hunter Renfrow. Foster Moreau, a guy who can contribute and is a good, in my eyes, the best number 2 tight end in the league, maybe. Hopefully can make another jump this year. And if we need him to start, he can do. Isaiah Johnson didn't pan out, but he did some things at some point in time. Now, Quentin Bell, that's a throwaway pick, number 7, doesn't really matter. But as a whole, I mean, this draft class has pretty much laid a foundation for our current roster. I mean, to grade it so low to me doesn't make sense. I mean, to get the value that we've gotten as a whole, I'm going to give it a B+. I mean, it's not, the first rounds could have been better, but like in terms of overall value and the foundations that it's laid, including our undrafted free agents, I'm sorry, Ozzy. I have to disagree. Like, to give it an F, like just because of the first.
No, I'm just
like
saying
I know you're
basing on the reaching factor or D. Yeah,
like you got to look at the positives, man. Like as a whole,
like,
this draft class has laid the foundation for where
it's
we're
a
at.
mind fuck. This draft is a mind fuck.
Yeah, it is.
Like because it messes your mind up because you're like Ferrell at number 4. You're taking a running back in the first round.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I was
was
critical of those guys too, but they have contributed. They're still on our roster. They're still providing depth. But to get
goes back to
the
what you said
value
about
and
Ferrell.
the production out of the later rounds, to me personally, it's one of the best drafts we've had in the last decade.
Oh, it is. But
second only to the 2014 draft.
Yeah, sounds about right. But
I mean, the 2014 draft is hands down like that's one of the best drafts.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Name
the better draft class we've had since then than this one. Yeah, it's been terrible.
What makes it work is Maxx Crosby being a superstar. That's
exactly.
and Hunter Renfrow, like just having that. Like, I know they were in the 4th round, but the fact that we got them on our team in that draft, it makes every other player kind of like fit around them. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And we got like kind of solid contributors everywhere.
That's kind of when I went C+, because it's just because of the fact of the reach, especially at number 4. And then, like Pharaoh said, you can get Josh Jacobs later. And then also, I was never a fan of Abram. Like, I wanted like a Rocky Sin or someone else at 27. So it's just because they mess up on that first round so badly. They reached so high in that first round. Otherwise, I could give it a B or a B+ if they hadn't reached him. Like if we had picked up, like say, Devin, or I didn't probably be an A with the Devin White, but if we picked up another solid player other than Ferrell, maybe an Ed Oliver, a DT in the first at number 4, then it would be a different grade. It's just that number 4 pick. I feel it brings down the grade because we're grading value. So
yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. I mean, you say that, but like for me, like they still contribute. Like, and I'm with you, Pharaoh. I've been critical of Clelin Ferrell and of Josh Jacobs, but they're still on our roster. I mean, you want to talk about value. I mean, look at round 1 last year. That's to me is a fucking F. If you want to look at like, you know, a complete bust and a complete wash. I mean, these guys have still contributed, you know, to some extent, and they're still on our roster. I mean, it could have been better, but it could have been worse. I mean, look at some of our previous first round classes. I mean, my God, terrible.
No, I can see why you said B plus. I can see why you could say B plus, or even you can even say A minus, just based off the players that you got that are contributing to this team. But if you were to look at the draft and be like, wow, like it could have, I don't know, it's weird to say this, but it could have been way better. Could have been
way better, but it could
have been like, I'm talking about like oh my God, like
it could have been an A plus.
It could have been like literally we could have been still playing in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
better if we got the right pieces in the first round.
Yeah, we had a lot of it for in the middle.
Yeah, it goes to what I was saying. I said it before, like if we'd have hit it out of the ballpark the way we did in the later rounds than we did in the first round, this could have been the greatest draft in history. But on the flip side of that, it's not. It could have been a lot worse. I mean, look at our 2020 first round draft picks. How much of a disaster that was. That to me is a disaster, not this year's first round draft picks.
Yeah, well, we gave it a C plus, which is just before a B. So
yeah. Dark Atheist. Wow, look at all the misses. Lol. Just kidding. Right. But anyways, look, that's our wrap up of the 2019 draft class. I mean, for me, it made a very interesting topic, and it was good to look back after 3 years to see where we drafted them and where they're at now and how they've produced. I mean, it was good to chop it up with you guys and give our own thoughts and opinions in that. So yeah, I appreciate you guys dropping by and doing something different. I mean, you know, a lot of other guys are touching up on the free agency, and I don't know. For me, it was like, well, you know, it's already been done to death, so why not try and do something different leading up to the draft? But you know, before we wrap up proceedings, Ozzy, you wanted to talk real quickly about, like, you know, the upcoming draft and what you.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see where you guys think we go. I mean, a lot of people are saying we're going to go all defense, but I have a strange feeling one of the reasons why Ziegler's so mad about giving up that second this year, and the fact that we kept Illuminor and Parker, and we haven't gotten a right tackle in free agency. I think they have their eye on someone in the draft at right tackle, to be honest. I think they have their eye on like a Falale or that Nicholas Petrie Ferrari or whatever his name is. Because I have a feeling those guys would have been there in the second round. So, because I'm not talking first round, I'm talking second round. Because we've had to wait and see what happens, but I have a feeling that there was a tackle they were looking at, and that's why we haven't really addressed that in free agency.
Yeah, but like for me, it's like, do we really want to draft? Can we, and do we really want to draft a right tackle to start for us when it usually takes more than just one season for them to develop? I mean,
but that's why you have.
Yeah, it might be okay in the long run, but we need one now. You know
yeah, but that's why I'm saying. That's why they've re-signed Parker and Luminor for this year. And you got to remember, we changed our O-line coach. We've got one of the best O-line coaches in the league now. So I have a feeling that they are going to draft somebody to play behind Luminor and Parker for a year, or one of those guys will be the starter, either Luminor or Parker, and whoever we draft is going to play behind one of them. But we'll see what happens.
I just hope they shore that position up a little bit better. I'm going to show faith because they made the right move so far, but I want that position shored up better than what.
We'll see what happens. We've still got how many weeks of free agency left? 2, I think. 2 weeks of free agency to go or something.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Yeah. Pharaoh? You got any final thoughts?
So who are we looking to draft in the third round?
Whatever you want. Yeah. Whatever you want.
Yeah, well, I was saying we're going to try and get back in the second somehow, but yeah.
Good catch, Ferrell. I heard that too.
Either trading a player or trading up, but yeah.
Hey man, best player available. Honestly, in the third round, like when your first pick is in the third round, like you're hoping to hopefully someone of some type of talent drops that can contribute to this team. Obviously, we could all say we would probably need some help at linebacker, O-line. You know, maybe someone that can contribute, a player that can contribute on defense,
a returner, and maybe a backup center as well.
Excuse me,
a backup center. Who
We need a
knows?
backup
I mean,
center, don't we? I don't think we've got one.
Yeah, Nick Martin's gone, I think.
Yeah. Who's our backup center?
it's a good point. I mean, but in my opinion, Ozzy, yeah, like I literally was talking about this like last week on a couple of live streams about an article that I read about how, the Raiders kind of came to the decision to get, Davante Adams. It was a really good article by Peter King, and he goes into detail on how they kind of like studied the tape on Davante Adams, and both McDaniels and Ziegler kind of agreed, like, this dude, we have to make sure we go after this dude, at least to make that attempt. And they went ahead and did that. They did the due diligence, and they said Ziegler, in that whole process of trying to get a guy like Adams, he did not want to give up his second round pick this year. He wanted to give up a first round pick this year and a second round pick
next year. Yeah, next year. Yeah.
So it kind of tells you that he didn't want to give up that second round this year. He wanted to keep that. So because there's a lot of good players in this draft, and he wanted to make sure he was able to get one maybe in the second round, at least this year. So that being said, I could see what Ozzy's trying to say. I feel like there's a chance that he might get into that second round, maybe trading a player that's on this team. Because if you think about it, if we end up getting Gilmore, that makes
Mullen might be gone.
That Mullen might be expendable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where would Mullen fall? I mean, like, he's supposed to be our number 2. If Rock is in and Gilmore is starting, Mullen, where's he?
Yeah. So it makes him expendable because he's a player from the old regime. You know how that goes. Like a new coaching staff comes in, new front office, anybody can go.
They want to bring their own guys and stuff. Anyone outside Derek Carr, I think Derek Carr's pretty good.
Exactly, but I'm hoping they get O-line. Hopefully they can address the O-line, but the way they're addressing the O-line, it's like they really believe in the talent here. They really believe in the talent here. They feel like they're better coaches, and obviously I feel like they are better coaches, but
O-line coach definitely.
Yeah, I just feel like we need to get at least some competition in there. It'll make me feel better. If we can get some competition.
I don't know. I just have a funny feeling they have their eyes on like a Falale or someone like that because they probably believe they can coach him. Because Falale's like got stuff you can't teach though. 6'8", 6'9", 380 pounds. So you can't teach that.
Size.
But an O-line coach, a good O-line coach, can teach footwork and can teach blocking.
Ozzy, he's got a Samoan name, and I know how to say it properly. It's Fa'alele.
Fa'alele.
You got to say Fa'alele.
Fa'alele. I don't know. I can't talk about it.
Yeah, no, I just because I think you brought it up before, and I saw the name. I was like, hey, that's a Samoan name. I'm half Samoan. That's where the name Mafakasi comes from. Means
he's your other cousin, right?
Yeah, he's my 10th generation. Talk all the time. Yeah, me, him, Samoan Raider, and The Rock. We chop it up in our downtime and that. Let's go, Vibes. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate you, man, on the Twitch. Much love to you. And I saw Jason Thomas, Dwayne Brown. Is he a tackle? Do you guys know about him?
He's an option in free agency. I mean, I don't know. He's older? Is he injury prone at this point? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. There's a reason, and it's a possibility. I mean, like when it comes to some of these veterans, there's a reason why they're still around. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these teams are waiting for the price to drop down for them to even consider bringing them in. That's why a guy like, Honey Badger, Stephon Gilmore, they're at that like point in their careers where they're like veterans and they want really big deals because that's the reason why Honey Badger left, because he felt like Kansas City was not going to give him that big deal that he was looking for.
I also believe that they're probably at that point in their career where they're looking for like their final contract kind of thing.
Yeah, Dwayne Brown plays for the Seahawks. He's a offensive tackle. 6'4", 320.
Defensive or offensive?
Offensive.
No, he's a tackle.
Offensive tackle. Yeah.
Right.
And he's 36 years old, man. 36.
Maybe 3 guys out there right now.
Hey, I'm going to give my take real quick. My battery's about to die right now.
But yeah. Sure,
I'm going to agree. Go ahead. Best player available. I'm going to agree on that. And, just like I can't make too many choices right now because look what happened when we're doing the mock drafts. And then all of a sudden, for the drafts, right? And all of a sudden we do free agency and now it just messed up all of our mock drafts, right?
That's why I never wasted my time on a mock draft. It's just like,
that's what I'm saying, man. And this is almost the same thing right now. Free agency is not over yet. So let's see if we can fill in some of these key holes. And then from there, then I'll ask, I could probably answer that question a little better. But I don't know if we should go with like what you were saying, Afakasi, about putting a rookie at offensive, tackle too. Yeah. They need years. Look what happened to Leatherwood. Not they can't do it, but it'd be good.
Even
to get
Miller
agency.
Even Miller struggled.
Yeah, and look at Cole Miller now. Well, he's a Pro Bowler, right? It took him 3 years. Yeah, it doesn't mean I want to hang it up on Leatherwood. I think he's still going to be good, but just too much for him.
Leatherwood's more of a guard though. They put him at the wrong spot. He was a guard in college as well.
But that's
I still think he's going to be productive for us. He just had a rough. Come on, man! He just got out of college and he's still a kid, right? And playing against pros.
Give them time, but I just don't ideally want to go that route for the draft this year. I mean, I think we can all agree we need better at right tackle, and it's just like, do we really want to go the route of the draft to get that in the later rounds, like the 3rd, 4th, 5th round? When it took Colton Miller 3 years. It took.
Well, look at James, our center.
Leatherwood, 1st round, he's still developing. I mean,
James, really our center. He just started this year, right? But he's been with us since 2019. But he's developed the last 2 years. If you can just develop them and look at him now, man. I mean, he had a couple of games, but for the most part, he did pretty well, man. And I think
they can develop, but it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, that's why you have Parker and Illuminal. Why you coach the other guy up?
Yeah, I don't mind picking one up as long as you don't put him in as a starter right away. Maybe to put him in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Someone under a veteran for and then in a couple of years we plug him in. I have no problem with that. But we'll see what happens with free agency.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm just having a strange.
It's a possibility though.
They like Falele. I reckon they like Falele, and I reckon they think that Carmen can coach him up because he's got the size. Yeah. And I reckon that he could stay behind. As depth for the first season and get coached up and then maybe be the starter in 2023.
Right. All right. Well, look, we'll wrap things up on that note. Before we do, Faye, because I know your battery's about to die.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
You've just started out your new channel. And I really enjoyed your first video where you're talking about what inspired you and that. To those who haven't subscribed already, Fade to Black, that's FAYD, number 2 Black, as it's spelled. I'll put his link in the description because I haven't had a chance to in the chat, and I don't have any moderators here. But please go and subscribe to my boy Fade. Fade, when you get yourself started, and if you want to do a live, you let me know, and I will.
I appreciate it. I'm doing it this week. I may do it tomorrow. What I had to do, to be honest with you, this last week I've been doing rehearsals and trial runs because I had never worked on StreamYard before. Last thing I want to do is just jump on and I didn't want it to be a mess. Being on the content creator side, I didn't know what it entails on that end, right? I'm always on this side of the panel. And you just even hearing Pharaoh, man, saying, hey man, it was so easy just to be on the panel and talk. But once he hosted one, he was like, whoa, we see all these messages coming in, and you gotta make sure you're keeping track of the.
I will help you with that. I'm more than happy to help you with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it's coming out this week for sure. I've already have some ideas what I'm going to do. I'm trying, and I'll push it out this week.
Yeah, but
I'd love to have either one of you guys on the show.
I can show you. I can take you through it and explain it all to you, so you can be confident enough to do it. Like we did it with Ozzy. We did it. You did your first live.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now you're up and running, and you're all ready to go. Stay tuned for Fade. I'm more than happy to take the time to help you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
And
Thank you for having me.
Shout out to Jason and Diego for dropping by. I appreciate you guys and your comments on that. I'll go on to you, Pharaoh. Appreciate you dropping by. Your channel has come out of nowhere and just kind of taken off real quickly, and it's good to see. I like your takes. I like your vibe and your opinions. We agree on a lot of things. We're very similar, you and I. And I very much appreciate you giving me your time. And you say when, and I will give you my time to join you on your panel because
It's all good,
really
man.
do appreciate you stopping by.
No problem.
And last but not least, Ozzy, thanks for riding with me and stopping by yet again. We've been doing this. It's nearly it's just about a 1 year anniversary, isn't it, since we got back into the game?
Yeah,
right?
pretty much, yeah. Something like that.
You know, we did the 2018 equivalent of this last year, and that was one of our earlier videos, and we were pretty much streaming to nobody. It's just me and him talking to nobody. So, you know, it's good to have come and progressed even just a little bit since then. So appreciate you. And you know,
are you guys in the same area?
No,
he's
we're on
in
the
WA.
other states.
Yeah.
I'm on the west side, he's on the south side of Australia. But
Okay.
you know, if you haven't already, OzyRaider, he's got his own content coming out, and I'm sure he's going to drop a live soon. So I will drop his link down below, as well as Pharaoh's. I'm not sure when you're going live next, but I'm sure it's going to be soon.
Either tomorrow or Tuesday. Be on the lookout.
For sure.
Around,
be on the lookout.
I'd say around 8 p.m. West Coast time.
Okay.
Just be on the lookout. I'm gonna put
for one,
up.
if I'm available, I will definitely stop by. And you know, if you want me on the panel, I'd love to. I'd love to.
You me on tomorrow, Pharaoh? Okay.
Also,
yeah,
on
I would have mentioned you. I would have mentioned you in that video too, Pharaoh. But I didn't know you were a content creator at the time. And man, I was trying to get everybody's names off the top of my head. And after I was like, man, I forgot about Ferrell. But you had just started around that time too. I think you just had a show or two. But I've been watching your shows, man. Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Me too, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. On T6 as well. I appreciate you stopping by and giving your takes. I know you had to go early, but again, appreciate each and everyone in the chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone in that. I'm just going to share our Ozzy's link real quickly because he just sent it to me.
Yeah, I just posted it.
I will put the other links in the description below the video when I get the chance to. I mean, most of you guys are already subscribed to these guys, but if you're not, make sure you do. Anyways, thanks again to everybody. Much love. You know what time it is, and you know what it is. Raidernation for life. As always, win, lose, or tie. Raidernation till I die. All right, till next time. All right,
Thanks
peace,
for having
guys.
me on, bro.
Peace.
Later, guys.
For sure.